Look who I found. Good to see you, man.
It's good to see you,
Strong.
man. I missed you.
I missed you too. This is going to be special.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. Of course, I'm Glenn Hausman, and Dr. Producer Suzanne is not here today. As you can see, that's Anthony Melcuri. How are you, my friend? Great to see you. Are you there?
I am doing very well. You're on a slight delay, so if it waits 2 seconds for me to answer, there is a slight delay for some reason. I don't know why.
That'll be good. That'll be good for our witty back and forth banter. So I'm excited. And now he's gone. All right, everybody, welcome here. While we're waiting for Anthony to return, I think it's a good idea to say, hey, there you are. You're back. Never mind. I don't have to fill time. How are you, brother? Delayed.
Good. You know, we said I'm working a hotel that we're about to open in Jupiter, Florida, a beautiful 30-room hotel. And where, because of the hurricane, we had some delays. So we're basically working on it this weekend, and it's open actually right now. We're just opening a few rooms at a time. And I'll tell you, it's a client that's very near and dear to our hearts. So we decided that we were going to help them literally get in trenches. So it's been a while since I've gotten to the level of detail where we're creating checklists, but I love it.
That's awesome. What's it like exercising those muscles? Does it come back to you right away, or is it a little greasy? You know, then you got to figure it out.
But what we're realizing is that being a desk clerk was a long time ago. So it's very interesting. I feel like I feel like a brand new kid nervous about his first job.
And you look it too. It's exciting to see you this way. I love it. I wish I was with you in person to tease you. Now I know we're gonna do a show fully focused on that hotel when you guys are really ready. But I got to be curious. I'm curious to ask you. The American Hotel and Lodging Association this week put out a number behind these staffing shortages that hotels seem to be having. And according to them, 87% of survey respondents indicated they are experiencing a staffing shortage. 36% severely so, with the most critical need in housekeeping, with 43% saying it's their biggest challenge. My question to you is, Anthony, how is it not the other 57% reporting housekeeping is the biggest challenge?
Yeah, housekeeping is definitely a big challenge. We're working with outsourced companies, and also it took us 6 months to find 7 people for front desk in night audit.
Wow.
So definitely, and a lot of them don't have experience, so that's, you know, we have to overcome those challenges. But it's but we have really great people, and you know, it's 30 rooms, and it's a beautiful hotel. I slept in the hotel last night. Matter of fact, I'm calling from right now. I don't have a waterfront view, so I'm not showing you the balcony. But it's a beautiful, you know, it's a beautiful room, it's a beautiful hotel, and you really don't have to leave. It's a little small beach. There's cabanas with water sports where you just sign up and rent out some water sport. There's a restaurant and bar right in the back, literally 10 feet. I'm sorry, 100 yards, and a golf cart comes, and a golf cart girl comes and brings you to the restaurant. So it's really cool. And I'll tell you something. I was up here last night, and it was very delightful, and it is 100%. I can tell you this with 100% certainty. There is no hotel. Crockford is, you know, one of my new favorite hotels in Vegas, and they have great lighting. There's no better lighting in any hotel I've ever been in than the hotel I'm sitting in right now.
Wow.
Like, the lighting is insane. Like,
there's actually
how many
one.
times have you seen? That's a.
Yep.
Where was the last time? Wait, hold on a second. Where am I going? Okay, 2. Right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 hi-hats in the room.
Wow.
When was the last time you walked in a room that had 7 hi-hats?
I can't I can't say that I ever walked in a room with 7 high hats. Wait, 1, 2. I only got 4 in this room. You got me beat by 3. Anthony.
1, 2, 3, 4. I can't count. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7, and one big one. Seven high hats in the room. I opened up the light this morning, and I was like, "Wow, it's right in here." But it's fantastic because I love light.
Yeah.
I love light. It would be really light if I opened up that shade.
Oh, I'm
But,
sure it'd be too
yeah,
light. We couldn't even see you.
I can't wait till a couple weeks from now when we're a little bit more when we're open. We have a grand opening, and I'll maybe you'll even come down and we'll do it from here.
I would love to be able to do that. I really want to see what you guys have been up to over there. But when you're talking about this issue when it comes to labor, fortunately, the numbers appear to be slightly better than in May when 97% said that they were short-staffed. So down 10% or so. That's not so bad. Do you think that the market's going to reset itself and these pains will start to be alleviated as we go forward, or are we in it for a while?
I definitely think we're in it for the long haul, 100%. I think we need, as I've been talking about, we need a campaign to bring people into the industry.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's true. But another thing that I keep thinking about, Anthony, what is it that people want, right? During this whole last couple of years, we've been talking about how the trends within the market have been accelerated, how people are looking to live their lives in a different way. And after a period of reflection, people are certainly doing that. And it's interesting to me to see how so much is starting to change. In fact, over at MMGY Travel Intelligence, they're showing that people are traveling a little bit differently. And then incredibly enough, overall 63% of US travelers intend to take a vacation in the next 6 months, which is pretty good considering we had so many people traveling over these summers. Plus, we're looking at culinary experiences now being a higher priority and social media playing a new important role. So people can now have an effect on getting folks to really travel and continue to travel going on.
Yeah, food and beverage and social media, you just hit it. Those are the two trends that people, if they have those talents, and it's not like food and beverage back in the day. Really, people are looking for healthy, people are looking for inspired, people are looking for creativity, things they've never had before. So very interesting. From a social media standpoint, most hotels are really, really bad at it. We're not really going to do social media for a little while, but we've hired a company to help us with that. And they're literally, I'm going to use them for every project I've ever had. I had meetings with them and they're amazing. So
that's awesome.
Those are the things. But also one of the things when you open a hotel, like this hotel, we can be sold out this weekend if we want to. It's all about how you set up the system. It's how you set up all your codes and how that's handled. That's key. Like everybody's like, well, we have to do this. We have to do this to get so people know we're open. We're sold out if we want to be this weekend.
Yeah. Right.
It's just because we set ourselves up right on the internet.
Right. But does that mean you want to do that to your team, right? So you're probably not sold out this weekend to make sure that everybody could ramp up more comfortably and you don't freak out a new team, right?
That's the conversation we're having right now.
Right. All right. But interestingly enough, Anthony, we're talking about how the portrait of the American traveler is changing. Culinary experience is a high priority. Social media continues playing an important role within it. And interestingly enough, yesterday, IHG Hotels and Resorts put out a new survey to better understand how consumers are really enjoying their time as a hotel guest and encouraging guests to be themselves. And not surprising, the selection of food available came in at 49%, and also rallying around that food and beverage issue. Research showed that 22% of people like to get changed for dinner to look their best, while 20% are comfortable enough slouching their pajamas and slippers. Now, we've got other observations here, but what do you think about those initial ones around F&B?
I honestly think that, listen, the impression of F&B right now in the hotels is they want it fast, they want a good meal, and they want it inexpensively. Period.
Right. Yep. But if the survey is saying 22%, like to get changed for dinner, while 20% are, wanting to look cozy, That's like the both
Yeah,
extreme
but
sides. How do you?
what star restaurant are we talking about? What star hotel are we talking about? Are we talking 5-star? Yeah, then everybody wants to put a sports jacket on. If I'm in a
Well,
5-star
yes.
hotel, I want to go to dinner in a sports jacket. So
Yeah, I
what
never
level are
want
you
to go to
talking
dinner in a
about?
sport jackets. Yeah, it's just very general and in vague and stuff like this. So I
Right,
don't
right.
know.
So I think that 22%, if I think that 22%, and also it really depends on what market you're talking about. So I
Yeah.
think generally people want casual, and I think, but today, dressing up is a really nice sports shirt. Really nice shirt and a nice pair of socks, and that's kind of fancy. That's a
Right.
suit and tie. I know that's
Honestly,
suit and tie for
Anthony,
you when you go out to dinner.
yeah, I was about to say for me, it's like, putting on pants instead of sweatpants. That's dressing up, So there's always there's always
Absolutely.
that. But also, what's interesting on the survey, this is a number that surprised me. Approximately 40% of respondents said they enjoyed not having to clean up after themselves or having to cook for themselves. That means 60% don't mind cleaning up for themselves. What is that really telling you, that number?
What you're saying? 60%.
The number
You're
they
saying
cited is
60%?
40% of respondents enjoyed not having to clean up after themselves. So to me, that says 60% don't mind it, but they cited 40% not having to clean up to them or having to cook for themselves as a main driver.
Well, I really think that the world we live in today is everybody's kind of isolated. And so when they're working or whatever, so they're so used to people not coming in and bothering them at home. The kids now are at school and they're kind of sitting at home and they don't want to be disturbed. And I think the hotel room is the same thing. People just don't want to be disturbed. So that doesn't surprise me at all. I think and I think it's going to be more and more. I think soon, I think in 10 years, it's like people coming into your room is almost going to be offensive.
Right. I hear you on that. And not a bad point. And I'd be curious again. I think these numbers are interesting, but I'm kind of seeing it kind of like the way we look at overall hotel industry fundamental numbers like occupancy and ADR. When you break it out on a nationwide, it's not really representative of any one specific property type or specific hotel. And in this case, I'd be curious to see how those numbers break down versus business travelers versus people that are desperate to be on a vacation, right? I think that's completely different because I don't know about you. I think you're kind of like me. I don't want anybody coming in my room on business travel.
Yeah. And like I said, I think more and more it's going to be like, if you think about going back to the old days of the hotel business, like 30 seconds ago, and, people come in your rooms, right? They still come in your room and they're looking for all your stuff. Now, that is so abnormal for 18, 19, 20, 21, 25, 26, 27. Like, what are you talking about? That's so weird. Like, what are you doing coming into my room and looking at my stuff? You're going to look in my underwear drawer? Like, so I really think, again, the higher star and the more you pay for a room and the more kind of well-traveled you are, like old people like us, we're used to that, but I really think I'm serious. I think in 8 years, 10 years, it's going to feel intrusive for people to come in, especially the more Airbnb makes an impact because people are used to now. You grew up in Airbnb and you go to a hotel and you're like, hey, somebody came in my room. It's
right.
like, yeah. It's like, well, I haven't stayed in a hotel in 10 years because I do Airbnbs. I didn't know they come in your room. Yeah, they come in your room. Really?
That's pretty funny and very likely too. But fortunately, maybe by then we'll actually have the robots that'll clean the room and we won't have to worry about people coming in. Although the robots could be scarier.
I sure hope so. I tell you, it's this industry. Like last night, I'm standing in the lobby and I'm talking to some of the front desk agents, and like 6 people come in, 6 young ladies. And I say young ladies, my age and older. And they're from Palm Beach, and you can tell they're well dressed, but they're very nice people. They come in, and they want to see a room. So of course I want to entertain them. So I'm making them laugh. We're all joking. Half of them are from Brooklyn, whatever. So they're all standing at the door. And I always say when you open the hotel, you sign the hotel, and you get everything perfect. If a guest opens the door and doesn't say "Wow," you failed. Right. Like literally, that's my standard. I talk about it all the time. And every single person that's come in this hotel so far has opened door, go, wow. Okay.
Well,
and
let me tell you this,
this is
Anthony.
a clientele that's used to that stuff.
To me, my favorite and most exciting part of every trip is when I open the door to the hotel room with the anticipation of what I'm going to see on the other end. So you nailed it, because as customers,
Yeah,
we're dying
absolutely.
for that. Wow. Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah, and it's a simple wow. It's a simple.
yeah,
It's clean. It's
yeah.
nice. It's not over designed. So as they're leaving, I look at them and I go, "How many of you are school teachers? Raise your hand. Retired school teachers. 5 or 6 raise their hand." And they look at me and go, "How'd you know that?" I say, "You just got the school. You got the school teacher. You got the school teacher vibe."
Right. Yeah, you live with one, so you kind of get that. You kind of understand that energy, right? That's too funny.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now, Anthony, last week I was in Corona, California, and I was at the opening of the Ever Home Suites by Choice Hotels, and the general manager is experienced. She's been in different locations, but this is the first time she opened a property. And what she was really excited to talk to me about was when she was hiring people, she didn't have to worry about legacy people that were already on site that may not have had the habits and culture that she needed to change and, and mesh. She loved the power of being able to hire the right type of people from the start. Maybe you have some advice for us on how to hire people if you're coming into a new situation, and how to deal with some folks that have already been there, and some of the differences between opening a property versus coming in the middle of a property's lifetime.
Well, opening a property is very, very stressful, whether it's 300 rooms, 3,000 rooms, or 30. It's just, there's so many things, right? Like, I've overwhelmed the staff just because we
Right.
didn't, last week, the hurricane. So I'm talking to them, and by the end of it, like, my partner just goes, "You got to stop. Like, it's too much for them to handle." So opening up a hotel, there's a lot. Everything from where the package goes, how do you handle housekeeping? There's just a million. Literally, if I show you a checklist right now, it's just insane. And I haven't done this personally opened hotels in, what was the last time I did one? I did one was the Stavridge Suites Times Square, and I had 3 assistants. So, and that was maybe 18, 19, 20 years, I don't know, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's very, very different. It's very different. So the thing you're looking for more is really experience. We hired most people without experience just because it's hard to find people, period.
Yeah.
And we hired nice people. We hired people that care. We hired people that are nice. And we can teach them everything else.
Right, of
And
course.
we hired, in this instance, like, the manager is very young. Who's managed but not managed an hotel before, but she's doing a great job, and she's just got to learn what she doesn't know. So, but when you're coming onto a hotel, kind of the same thing. When you're already onboarding someone, yeah, you want them to know the property management system, but at the end of the day, you just want, it's like anything else. You just want people to feel great. Like, when I brought these young ladies into the room yesterday, I didn't have a plan of what to show them, how to show them. I was just me.
Right.
And by the end, we're hugging and laughing, and and they love the hotel, and they're going to come back. So to me, you always hire personality, period. And then, yes, you want experiences in certain, like cooking and design and things like that. But most things you can train people.
Right. Well, what about if you're a general manager that's been hired to come into an existing situation? How do you try to work to change the culture and get people to go along with that, so you don't have to disrupt them and as you say, promote them to customer?
Yeah, but again, how I do it and the way it's supposed to be done are two different things.
Maybe tell us both.
Well, any hotel I've ever worked in,
Yeah.
if I want your opinion, I'll ask for it the first 6 weeks, and then after the 6 weeks, I want everybody's opinion. But typically,
Yeah.
I fire people when I first get there because they're failing for a reason, and if they're great people that just didn't have the tools, they stay. If they're like going to give me attitude, they're done. I have no time. So
You probably wait, hold on.
I'm
You probably
very.
I gotta ask a little bit deeper on that particular topic. Now, obviously, for you've been doing it for so long, you probably have that gut. You probably know offhand. But for inexperienced people, how do they discern between that person that is incapable versus hasn't been given the tools?
Attitude, right? It's like anything, right? It's like winners. When anytime I've taken over a hotel and you want to be the number one in your market, we want winners, right? So if you look at a football team, and the football team is losing, it's because there's a couple things. One, maybe you just don't have the talent. Number two, maybe you don't have the coaching. And then three, maybe you don't have the right attitude. But once you have the right coaching and once you have the right people in place, it all comes down to attitude, listening. In the first couple of weeks, like I said, I don't really want your opinion, but then I want everybody's opinion. And I want, how do we right the ship? So it's really attitude and listening. I mean, there's no secret to it. But when I come in, usually hotels are not doing well. And so I'm an acquired team. And apparently I'm very, even when I'm talking softly and even when I'm just explaining things, people get overwhelmed.
I hear you.
But,
Sometimes we have to.
but I understand why.
Yeah.
But I have 35 years experience, so I understand that. So I completely understand why people would do. The people here at this hotel, I'm so lucky. The people are great. The client's great. The people that they've hired are great. So we're very fortunate.
Oh, and you can't diminish the fact that our culture and the way that we were raised in New York City is sometimes a lot different than the way people communicate, both verbally and non-verbally in other parts of the country, and it can be misread, right? Like, so that is that's always something. Anthony, yeah. All right, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is Nolan released its U.S. monthly meetings and events data for September, and they reported 135.4% growth over the last year, and September 2022 grew 23.7% month over month. That's September versus August. And the average number of attendees is up to 118 compared to 112 a year ago. And 97 in 2019. So observations are interesting to me. It looks like more meetings are coming back and the smaller meetings are getting bigger. What do you see?
Yeah. And I think, honestly, people are at a desperate level to get their people in meetings. Again, we're dealing with a different standard. They're not coming from the office and going to meetings.
Right.
We are coming from home and going to meetings. So my team potentially hasn't seen each other in a year and a half. Where was I? I was recently somewhere. Oh, I was at a brand.
Somewhere.
I was at a brand for the salespeople.
Right.
And I didn't anticipate that the first time they've been in the room together is now. 2.5 years they haven't been in the room together. And that blew my brains out. And a lot of times people haven't even met their boss in person.
That's crazy. I know, it's so true. And the two of us, we've been traveling a lot over the last 18, 20 months or something like that. So it seems anathema to our lives that these people have just been doing what we're doing right now, talking in different cities on computer screens. Yeah.
So I think honestly, meetings are going to exceed in the next couple of years anything we've ever seen before, simply because the meeting at the hotel is the new office.
That's right. And it's more opportunity than ever for lots of different types of hotels to get involved in the meetings business. Anthony, in my opinion, you don't necessarily just have to focus on full service hotels. There are a lot of great select service hotels out there that have those smaller conference rooms. I've been at 2 or 3 of them in the last few weeks there. So with people not coming to the office as much and the need for people to still get together and communicate, there's a good opportunity for your sales folks to get out there in the community and create some interesting, fun, small meetings that get the team back together while helping educate them at the same time, right?
Yeah, and like I said, the meeting is the new office. I mean, people aren't coming in the office, but they don't mind going away, especially if it's in Vegas, and meet the whole team. It's a good way to meet the team, but it's getting more difficult to hire people for 5 days a week. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible unless it's a shift job. It's almost impossible to get a corporate executive or a salesperson or without them wanting at least one day from home. I don't know anybody that's been hired in the last year that will work 5 days a week from the office.
And interestingly enough, speaking of tying it all together, the Cucina folks that we interviewed on Tuesday, that's located nearby where you are right now, they're only open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So they're just doing one shift of people. So it makes me think that for them to try to open even more, it'll be very complicated to put that into motion.
The order match coming back, baby.
Yeah, it sure is. Oh, I can't wait. I definitely believe it. Next summer when I go see the what they're doing at Showboat, that's going to be a hoot. And I see more and more places doing cool stuff like that. Anthony, I know you got to get back to it. Is there anything else that you want to talk about today?
I just would be really upset with myself if I didn't tell you how good you look today, my friend.
Hey,
you
thanks,
look marvelous.
Hey, thanks. And remember, as Billy Crystal, as Fernando said, it's better to look good than to feel good, right? Marvelous. A little old 1984. You're playing, boss. Do you remember?
Wait. What's so funny?
What? What was that?
Who do I remember?
You Hervé Villachez?
You said,
that who you?
Do I remember?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So let's play a little game before we go. You want to play a game? Let's play a little game.
Okay. It'll work great with this delay.
Okay. Yeah, it will work great. So nowadays we all know that everybody in the house is on different, phone, iPads, computers, TVs, and no one's watching the same thing. And so I say, hey, did you watch so-and-so show? And you're like, what show? Like, oh my God, best show in the world, right?
Yep.
So, but back in the day when we were all growing up, there's 3 channels and, 30 million people watch the show. So let's play a 2-minute game of I'll say a quote or you say a quote, and then you tell me what show it's from. So
let me start with what you talking about, Anthony? But the name is different.
Oh, that's yeah. I Love Lucy. Right.
No,
so
what you talking about, Willis? Come on.
Willis. I'm sorry. I Love Lucy. Right. Because I was about to say, "Splain me, Lucy." Right. That's I Love Lucy.
Right.
But then wait, what's the favorite of all favorites? Address the Ball. Ball.
Hello, Ball from the Honeymooners. Norton.
But you know what? It's Norton. To the moon, Alice. You couldn't say that today.
No, just
and man, I watched. I watched
that
All in the
funny?
Family
Wait,
the other
Anthony,
night.
isn't that funny that domestic abuse was considered comedy in the 1950s?
Oh my God,
Crazy.
it's horrible.
It's crazy how far we've come.
But if you watch All in the Family today, it is so uncomfortable. But it's so like everybody gets how horrific some of the stuff is, and they talk about it. And what I like is they always come to an understanding at the end. Like when George Jefferson and Archie Bunker kind of go at each other, they eventually actually start to like each other. So really very interesting. And then where the Jeffersons moving on up, that's the greatest theme song in the history of the world.
It
right?
is. Do you know who sang that theme song?
We don't have that. I do. If I'm Mr. Jefferson, right?
No, it was
no, the Next Door Neighbor, right?
No. Yes to Next Door Neighbor, but wrong show. Jeanette Dubois, who was the next door neighbor on Good Times, sang that song, Moving On Up. So that's my little trivia. Also,
I knew somewhere there was the next door
also the Jeffersons was actually the first real show on network television that featured an African American family of means, that they were able to move out of Queens and up to the Upper East Side like they've arrived. Until then, it was a lot of shows like Good Times, for example, what we were talking about. Exactly, all of that kind of stuff. So if any of you guys don't know about Norman Lear, who produced all of these TV shows, you should really look into him, because he created radical television in the 1970s that you could never do today, such as Maude, who confronted the abortion issue on her show. You imagine being able to even talk about that today? I can't.
How old is Norman Lear? Do you know?
Like 96-ish, give or take a year.
They just threw a major party for him in Hollywood. He turned 100.
Oh, no, he's 100 now. That man is incredible.
He turned 100, and like he's fine. Like you talk to him,
doesn't look a day over 70. And I mean, and I mean that.
He really does it. He really does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I've said this before, but on my website and on my LinkedIn page, my favorite quote is "Put your dreams in the world and let the world conspire for your success." That came right out of Norman Lear's Mountain interview, and I never forgot those words. So Norman Lear
Yep.
was controversial a little bit, obviously, but he was also he was pretty creative. And matter of fact, who is the gentleman who played the father on Good Times?
John Amos.
Yeah, yeah. So he left the show because he didn't like that they were
Right.
spending so much time on Jimmy Walker saying dynamite,
Right.
and he felt that they should be really focusing more on Michael and more on his daughter, who were educated and going places, as opposed to a wayward kid that just kept on saying dynamite, who's an artist. So he didn't feel that it was being portrayed properly. That's
Interesting.
why he left the show.
Yeah. Well, eventually they made the JJ Jimmy Walker character successful as an artist. Really interesting. So Anthony, if you take the good and you take the bad, there you go. What do you have?
I don't know.
The facts of life. God.
Which was that?
The facts of life. It's the opening of the theme song. You
Oh,
take
I
the
didn't-
good,
I
you
didn't watch
take
that
the
that
bad,
much.
You take them both in there. You have the facts of life.
Yeah. Well, if you sang that, I would have got the facts of life. But what's this? Oh, this is the most intriguing, interesting quote of a TV show.
Yep.
If you can't do the crime, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
What?
You know what that's from? Nope.
I have no idea.
Remember Beretta? Remember Beretta?
Yes, but hardly. I never watched it, but I know it because it was on
You know
TV
who
in the
started?
70s.
Okay, so don't do crime if you can't do the time. Who started that show? Do you remember?
No.
Who is the celebrity that was on trial for killing his wife?
Robert Conrad? No, I'm sorry. I take that back. It was not Robert Conrad.
Conrad.
I do not mean to besmirch him.
It was Beretta. It was Beretta, and I think it was Robert, right? And
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I thought you were gonna know this dead.
I should have, dude. I feel like I've let you down.
Robert Blake. Robert Blake.
Yeah, that's it. It was close.
So I thought that was very interesting. That he was a guy that was a cop that always said, "Don't crime if you can't do the time," and then he winds up for a murder on his wife.
Well, I guess he
that he got off for, believe it or not. He still.
Oh yeah.
He didn't do the time because.
Wasn't it because he was like old and mentally infirmed or something like that? They said. I don't remember. No.
They couldn't
just couldn't nail him. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I hardly remember that at all. It's got to be back in the 90s.
But, and when everybody at 9 o'clock everybody knew 9 o'clock on Monday was one show. 9 o'clock on Tuesday was another show. 9 o'clock.
I think Laverne and Shirley was on 9 on Tuesdays.
You look forward to 9 o'clock because you knew something. Yeah, which was a spinoff of Happy Days.
It was. Hello.
Let the pigeons loose. Do you remember that?
No. Let the pigeons loose?
Yeah. Remember when Fonzie, there was this gang that was going to beat up Fonzie, and one of the actors, he goes, "Let the pigeons loose." It was a famous quote, but actually, Leo Rossi, his best friend and the godfather to his children is that actor.
That's hysterical. How about this quote? How about this quote? Would you believe what TV show? What 1960s comedy is that from?
Would you believe?
Would you believe? Yep.
Oh wait. Ripley, Believe It or Not?
No. Get Smart.
Oh, yeah. You don't say I walk like Get Smart. Everybody says I walk like him.
That's
I don't know what that means, but anyway.
I don't know. I think you walk more like George Jefferson.
So many good shows. What's people said that too. But you know what's so funny? All these shows are coming back, and there's so many retreads. They really haven't found this plethora of shows. They just haven't. It was show after show, hit after hit after hit. When was the last time there was a really Modern Family comes to mind? I
think that's the one. The only one that comes to mind is the most recent one. Well, I mean, TV has changed so much. Which other one?
Yeah, Modern Family, and then the other one with the couple, heavyset couple. I
Roseanne?
can't remember the show.
Oh, I know
It
what
was
one
a
you're
recent
talking
one.
about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Wasn't.
Yeah, but see, we can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was probably on for like 9 years or something like that. It was like Molly something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, the only thing that I would say that everybody except me has watched is Game of
Yeah,
Thrones.
it's a good show. Not the end of it, but the rest of it was pretty darn good.
Yeah, yeah, I've never watched it. I have no interest in it. I've never watched Harry Potter. Never watched Star Wars, Star Trek, nothing.
Yeah, well, I watched Harry Potter because I had kids that were focused on that, but it's pretty good.
My kids had zero interest.
Yeah,
Zero interest.
You're lucky. All right, should we get out of here? You got to go back to work.
Yes, sir. Don't ever say what I do for a living is work.
Sorry, you've got to go back to following your passion. All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for being here. Be sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you get your shows. We are there. And if you're listening to us, why not watch us on video? Find us on LinkedIn, Facebook. You know the routine by now. Good seeing you today, Anthony. We'll see you next week.
Good seeing you, my friend.
Yeah, have fun down there.
Yeah, we're going to Chicago.
Yeah. So next Friday, Anthony and I will be appearing on stage together at the Hospitality Asset Managers Association meeting, reflecting on some of the best guests we've had, the lessons we've learned, and the trends we see going forward. You won't want to miss that. Be there for it. Of course, remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. And he's muted, but said, be kind to yourself. See you later.